are new here, my name is Rauha and you are very welcome. I am from a beautiful country called Namibia. Namibia is a country in Southern Africa, and if you don't know what that is, this is your chance to look it up. Right, so in today's video, I'm going to dive into the question that I've been getting a lot from my friends, my followers, my relatives, my acquaintances, everyone. So I'm going to answer the question because now I feel like it's the right time. All right, so the question I've been getting is, have you left Malaysia? Are you going back to Malaysia, and why did you leave Malaysia? Right, so I think, having seen a post on Facebook in one of the expert groups where they asked what challenges are foreigners facing in Malaysia, it kind of also gave me an idea of exactly what to tell you guys, because I had time to reflect on it before I could even comment it in the group. Right, so first things first, let me be very clear with you guys. When you're a tourist, your experience is very different from someone who lives there. I've lived in Malaysia for years, okay? Years and years. So when YouTubers come on YouTube and say, oh, Malaysia is so amazing, Malaysia is so fantastic, yes it is, but you only see the surface because you don't live there. The second thing that needs to be very clear is that a white person's experience is not a black person's experience at all. What an African will experience in Malaysia is very different from what a European would experience in Malaysia. Our experiences are not the same. Our challenges are not the same. So let us be very clear on that. We might have some similar challenges, but for the most part, we don't have the same challenges. Alright, and that is why right now as we speak, I can tell you so many foreigners, especially African people, are actually leaving Malaysia. I'm one of them. I left, and I'm really happy that I left, by the way. Not that I entirely hated Malaysia, it's just you have to be realistic, especially now that I'm getting older. You know, you see things clearer than you ever did before when you were younger, you know. So we amongst ourselves, even amongst the African community, we have conversations and we get to understand what are the challenges that we're all facing here, right? So number one, immigration. Immigration in Malaysia is a nightmare. It is a freaking nightmare. And one of the reasons I actually left is that people don't understand. Do you know that if immigration locks down a building, let's suppose they lock down a club or a mall or a condominium where people live, if you get into that truck, whether you are legal or not, they're going to take 2 weeks to verify whether you are legal while you sit in jail. Something that can easily be done: check your passport number, check your status, and you're out. But they say the process takes 2 weeks. Now, I'm not just saying hearsay, because this has actually happened to 3 people that I studied with, and they were from my country, right? Legal students that were studying at one of the greatest universities in Malaysia, and because of how the system works, they had to sit in jail for 2 weeks to wait for verification. I do not want to be one of those people that has never been to jail, and for some reason I'm at a place and immigration decides to lock down, and then I need to sit in jail for 2 weeks to wait for my visa status to be verified. I think that is crazy. It's crazy, and it's not normal. Now, I don't care what people say. Oh, it's how the system works, it's how the law works, it's how the... Man, you know what? I just missed living in a country where I don't even know where my passport is. And that is the best feeling for me ever. I was in Norway for 1 month. Never cared about where my passport... In fact, I've never seen the police in Norway. There is no such thing as police brutality in Norway, by the way. You don't see the police, you see them like once in a while. I've never seen the police in Norway, never. You know? And it just feels great to not walk around with your passport, even in a country like Norway. You get what I'm saying? So that's the same for me in Namibia. When I'm in Namibia, I don't even know where my ID is. I don't even know if I have an ID card, you know? So that's one of the reasons why I left Malaysia. Immigration is crazy. And while people say, oh yeah, there's so many illegal immigrants, my friend, let me tell you something. You cannot solve a deep-rooted problem with a surface solution. A lot of immigrants that are illegal in Malaysia are not a result of it's you guys, it's you foreigners. It is a result of your own systematic problems. If immigration can't control that, who are we to control it? There's so many illegal immigrants that are in Malaysia and they continue to live there because the police continues to accept bribes. So stop talking about illegal immigrants. There are so many illegal immigrants from countries like Bangladesh, Philippines, Indonesia, Thailand who are working illegally there because somehow the people that employed them have connections. Right, that's one. Number two, finding a house, an apartment in Malaysia as an African is hard labor. No, it's worse than hard labor. It's almost a mission impossible. Man, it was easier years back then when I started studying, but now it gets worse by the year. I came to Malaysia last year to start my job, April 2022. I had money for an apartment, I had a job, I had legal visa status. I couldn't find an apartment. Guess what? I was homeless for almost 2 months. Every agent says no foreigners, but I feel like what they really mean is no Africans. Right? The third thing is, some countries can't open a bank account in Malaysia. Namibia is not one of them, so I feel like, okay, we're lucky in that regard. But imagine being a student and you're not allowed to open a bank account because of the ties your country doesn't have with Malaysia or whatever issues they have. Where do you keep your money? Under your bed? Come on. That is ridiculous, to say the least. Number 3, go back to your country. Very, very common statement. If you have ever been online in a debate and as a foreigner you say something wrong, or if you ever saw a video where a foreigner did something wrong, which even locals do, go back to your country. This is all you ever hear. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm in my country anyway, I don't care. But I think it's very rude. Because recently, I saw a video of a man, an African man, running naked, chasing someone, right? And this kind of titles, by the way, when you say something like, a foreign man runs around naked chasing someone, causes division among people because, believe it or not, it's not about a foreign man, it's about a crazy man doing something. Now, whether he's mentally disturbed or whether he's on drugs, which he's likely to be on, there's so many buggers and drugs in Malaysia. I personally only realized how much drugs people do till I came to Malaysia, which I didn't realize when I was back in my country. The average person in Namibia probably doesn't know a person who does drugs. And if they do, maybe they know someone who's smoking marijuana. But do they know someone who's taking cocaine or meth? I don't think so. In Malaysia, easy to know them. Even small teenagers are doing that. But that's not the point. It doesn't have to be a foreign man. It just has to be a man or a crazy man. Because I used to work at Menara Shell, and if I tell you how many junkies are lying around there, walking around there, some of them are naked, some of them are lying down in their vomit. It's crazy. I don't know what's going on in Brickfields or why nobody's controlling that area. And imagine, that's actually one of the reasons why I never wanted to work night shift. Because I never wanted to come across these people during the night. Because during the afternoon, there were times I had to eat something at Anu Central. And I would see someone just lying down in a pool of vomit. Or I would see some crazy guy walking around and you can tell this person is high. So is it about a local man being high or being a drunkard, or is it just about a man? So, like I said, for me, the division was a little bit insane, but that's just one of the things, right? Another thing, which is probably going to be point number 5 for me, no opportunities for foreigners. They've never, and when I say foreigners, I should probably be more specific. No opportunities for Africans in Malaysia. Very rare. And if you do find, you are very lucky. Aside from the BPOs now that are hiring people just because of, cheap labor and obviously languages. I mean, if they need someone for Swahili, for example, where are they going to get a local who speaks Swahili? So obviously they need to hire a foreigner. But even with that, a lot of these BPOs are now leveraging on the fact that, some countries are going through the most in Africa, so they just hire, they offer them very little as experts, even though these people are specialized. For example, specializing in Swahili or in whatever language it is, but yeah. To each their own, but I still feel like there are no opportunities in Malaysia for Africans. If you think Malaysia is one of those countries where, for example, you can even be a cleaner in a mall, you can't. You can't be a cleaner in Malaysia. You can't be a housekeeper in Malaysia. There is no job for you as an African. Let's be clear on that. Number 6, even if you live in Malaysia for 40 years, you will never get a passport. Nada. De nada. Be very clear on that, right? Number 7, I think I have to say, kind of started appreciating the clean air in my country. The air quality in Malaysia is getting worse and worse and worse. But if you don't mind, who am I? So these are some of the reasons why I left Malaysia, and I'm not going to say that, Malaysia is entirely a bad country. No, there are so many benefits of living in Malaysia, right? And I can highly recommend Malaysia to even students, for example, because as a student, it's affordable, transport is very convenient, food is very cheap, and while people can be racist even amongst themselves, amongst the 3 races in Malaysia, you are no exception. But if you know how to mind your business, then why do you care? You can just be friends with other foreigners or be friends with locals that actually don't mind you being an African, right? So in terms of studying and all of that, I would totally recommend Malaysia. In terms of traveling as a tourist, totally recommend Malaysia. And even though people say like, oh yeah, Malaysia is becoming dangerous now and whatnot, for me personally, no. I still feel like Malaysia is a safe country. It's just that you need to be at the right place at the right time. But compared to African countries, Malaysia is very safe. Malaysia is very, very safe. And for some reason, if you're not safe, you were probably at the wrong place at a very wrong time. But generally, you can live in Malaysia for years and you can be safe. You just have to make the right friends, stay out of trouble, don't bother people, go to work or go to school, go to the mall, go to the beach, travel, see places, and mind your business. Just be a good citizen and obey to their laws. Then you will have no single problem in Malaysia. So like I said, it's not like Malaysia is entirely bad. It's just that these are my reasons as to why I left Malaysia, right? So for me, it was, I think, a great decision. And having spoken to so many people in my circle and at work and everything, I think another thing that people do always say is that Malaysia can be very comfortable because of, the cheap transport, cheap food, cheap everything, affordable accommodation. You can get very comfortable, and before you know it, you're clocking 40 years old and you're still comfortable and you're still in Malaysia. But it depends on every individual's goals. Depends. Our situations, our challenges, our goals, and the way we see things, and even our privileges are not the same. So I cannot speak for every person individually. I can only speak for myself. which is why I felt like, for me personally, this was the best choice for me to just get out of my comfort zone and actually get out there and face my reality. Yes, I miss Malaysia because I do have very great friends there, and I did have a lot of great connections with some people, and yeah, I was living comfortably. I didn't have problems there, aside from what I mentioned. It was really okay for me, but it's time to move on. And yeah, to everyone else in Malaysia or wherever you are, enjoy it there. And if you're thinking of traveling to Malaysia, like I said, highly recommend. If you are thinking of retiring there, again, depends on your pockets. Our realities are not the same, So yeah, that's all for me. Hope you guys found this video informative. And like I said, this is not to bash Malaysia. This is my honest opinion and reasons as to why I left Malaysia. So that's all for me today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to like, comment, share your thoughts. Let me know, do you guys agree, do you disagree? Did I lie about something? Did I not tell the truth about something? Or am I on point? Do you guys agree with some of the things that I actually mentioned in this video? If you have been or do live in Malaysia, then you would know whether it's actually true or not. But other than that, hope you guys have a lovely day. That's all from me today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao!